Also, we would like to talk, I mean, Mr. Hitchens did talk about this himself, is the moral foundations. Dr. Craig was pointing out that mankind needs an objective moral foundation to behave the way it does, and we wouldn't have this without God. Again, this is related to the thing with the anthropic principle. We have evolved with our current moral framework because that is the one that works for us. We need this moral framework that we have devised ourselves. I'm sorry, I live by my morals, and many millions of people live by their morals not because they're told to, but because they know it works, because they want to survive, they want to eat, they don't want to catch diseases, they want to proliferate their families. And for example, murder is not particularly conducive to, how shall I say, furthering the human race. I mean, obviously it is one of the Ten Commandments, but even quite an archaic human can work out that you don't really want to kill everybody. It's not going to do well for you, is it? Incest, likewise. Incest did used to occur. I'm sure it still does. But again, it's just not conducive to the furtherance of the human race. And I think that's quite clear to even the simplest people. People that will have witnessed the results of incest will probably look at it and say, I'd quite rather that didn't happen to my children, so I'm going to go and sleep with somebody who I'm not related to. It's a fairly simple proposition that you don't need to be told. Theft as well. I think it's pretty clear that if everyone steals from each other all the time, then society cannot excel in its current way. Same with adultery, really. If you want a strong family that is going to provide for you, that is going to look after you, etc., well, you don't go sleeping around, do you? These things are all fairly basic. Now, I feel that I've begun to answer some of the questions posited by Dr. Crane, but now I feel it is my turn maybe to, well, explain some of my opinions. I mean, this is actually another point that he made, is that the personal experiences of theists are evidence enough to say that God is real. Saying a person will believe in God because they have felt His presence. Well, I can assure you that I have had a number of religious experiences myself. Some have been induced by toxic behaviour, shall I say, and other things have been while I've been sober. These experiences have been both good and bad. They have been some of the most amazing feelings I have ever felt in my life, some of the most terrifying, and yet they neither encourage me to believe in God nor discourage me, because I am not so irrational as to trust my own chemical feelings to guide my beliefs, or lack thereof. At the end of the day, I think a person who is intelligent and rational should be able to provide their own beliefs or their own understanding of the universe without listening to base desires that were created for survival. Now, I know none of this is going to make a single bit of difference to any Christians in the world, or Muslims, or Hindus, or Sikhs, or Buddhists, or Scientologists, or Mormons, or any of that. I don't think any atheist really does. We seem to feel we're fighting a losing battle. But then we must stick up for ourselves as well. Because someone's got to do it, haven't they? I mean, what I'd really like to discuss is why life is better for the world without religion. I mean, I begin by saying that thousands of years ago, religion most likely was a good thing. People needed some kind of way of making sense of the universe. Unfortunately, this way of making sense was seized by powerful people, heads of churches, governments, etc., as a way to control people. Well, unfortunately, for them, these days, that no longer works. It doesn't need to work for them anymore because they have money to control us with and laws. However, our need for understanding of the universe has not changed. But we do have science, physics, biology, chemistry, the social sciences, art, literature, music. We have all of these things, these new tools, these newly developed tools that can allow us to gain enrichment from this world in which we live. And religion is simply not necessary. To me, religion will cloud judgment. I find it very difficult to come up with a situation where being religious may be advantageous to being an atheist. The only example I can come up with is when dealings with another religious person. They might look favourably on you if you're religious, but that essentially is tantamount to racism. And that is one of the biggest problems with religion, is that it closets people away from each other, and it prevents us from developing greater bonds and greater cooperation between people. We live now in a time where global cooperation is rapidly becoming essential to us. We have the threats of global warming, pandemic diseases, wars, space-bound dangers like asteroids or gamma ray bursts, which is relatively unlikely, but we have things like volcanoes, earthquakes, massive hurricanes, tidal waves. All of these things threaten now the world as a whole. It is no longer about individual tribes or countries being damaged. It's not even about individual continents anymore. It is about the human race as a whole. And whilst people fight among their beliefs about who is right about how, I don't know, about which God created the world, or how you should behave on Sundays, or anything stupid like this, there is no possible way that we are going to come together and beat the challenges that are ahead of us in the future. I personally want to see the human race survive for many, many thousands of years, if not indefinitely. I just fail to see how this is even slightly possible with current attitudes of the religious part, or the religious element of the human race being in existence. If people truly want to be good people, if people really want to be good to their fellow people, the only way is to relinquish these bonds that are insinuated by religion. People are capable of being good by themselves. Some wonderful, wonderful things have been done on this earth without the name of God. You know, take something like Live Aid, that attempted to take finances from the rich West and take it to people in Africa who were suffering from AIDS. Another thing which the Catholic Church never wanted to help with the advent of the terribly evil condom. You know, Live Aid was conducted regardless of religion. That was people behaving how people wanted to behave. And on the flip side of that, you have all the bad things that have been done by people in the name of religion. Virtually every war that has ever been fought, of course. But something which I was quite interested by, again on the Christopher Hitchens and Dr. Craig debate, at the end, one of the students in the audience asked Mr. Hitchens why it was any different that physicists had developed the atom bomb, which regretfully destroyed so many souls in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I mean, the first thing he said, of course, physics isn't a state of mind. I may disagree with him there because I'm a physics student, but no, he's right. Physics is not telling people how to live. It is not telling people what food to eat, how to have sex, who to have sex with, anything like that. Physics is merely an understanding of the earth. And yes, it was wrong to use an atomic bomb, of course it was. However, the understanding that we have gained of the universe as a result of those atomic bombs being developed is vast and far-reaching. There has been far more discovery as a result of the investigations into atomic energy in the first place. There's so much that we have learned from those processes. True, it would have been better to do it without the dropping of the atomic bombs, but that's happened, and the human race must move past these times, and it must learn the lessons it's learned, which is something that many religions don't want to do. They have this doctrine that they're given, and they say, no, this is the way it was given to us, and this is the way we're going to live it. Whereas physicists, scientists in general, take the errors they have made and they attempt to draw new conclusions, to find new ways of being. Well, I feel I've vented myself enough now. I'm sure that if anybody watches this, there will be a lot of views, criticisms, and for me that's excellent. If you can find bad things in what I've said, which I'm sure you will, if you can find incongruency and contradiction and all those things, please bring them forward, especially if you're a religious person. I would really like to hear from you. If you're not a religious person, if you're an atheist, and you can see something I'm doing wrong, well, give me a hand, and hopefully we can achieve some lively debate. Thank you very much.